therefore being grateful to them and letting them know that, whether it's at Christmas time with bonuses or verbals all the time. And you got to let those guys know on the front line that are blocking for the the prima donnas, that they're the nucleus of the whole thing. They're the backbone of the team.
The thing that I've noticed the biggest change for me, because I run more of an office staff, Mark.
I mean, I've literally been going to his tire shop for almost 40 years.
Wow.
And yeah,
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Why? It's because not only do they have the lowest prices, but the service is really good, and it's amazing how honest they are. I mean, they don't just sell you a tire if you can fix, let's say, the flat. And sometimes you can, and sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
And I've been just very appreciative of how honest they are. And it's one of those things where I can. It's funny. Their commercials say, oh, come bring your wife and your daughter, whatever. And I've literally done that. I've just said to my wife, just go ahead and just go there, because I trust them enough.
Well, thank you.
And what I want to know is you always you've got on your window, and you've had that up there for a while, and on your ads too. You say, "We beat Costco." How do you beat Costco?
Well, we shop them. So that came out some years ago, and I put up there a blanket message, "We beat Costco." Their attorneys came back to us and said, "You don't beat us. You don't sell toilet paper and sunglasses and watches and things like that." So he said, "You need to put up a percentage of any percentage which will get you out of the legal situation, blanketing that statement saying." And I said, that's a fair deal. So in the very small corner, there's a percentage of that in there that's handwritten in. We beat Costco, and I can't remember if it's 80 or 90 or 100%.
120% of the time.
We don't beat them on toilet paper and tuna. We beat them on tires. So 100% of the time.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's.
I mean,
great.
that's amazing. Think about that.
And I studied
That's
them.
amazing.
Costco's always the lowest on everything,
the
except
volume
for
they
this.
have.
Right, and a lot of people go there because they just
Yeah.
assume that
Yeah,
they're the
and
lowest, and they're going.
That's the thing. It's a warehouse mentality.
Yeah.
You see that big warehouse up there, and you automatically assume that's the lowest thing. And especially with some of the ladies that are in the market, we have become a big part of my customer basis. I'd say it's up to 70% of the people who are walking that door to buy tires, whether the husbands send them in there or not, are women.
Yeah.
But they truly have that warehouse is cheaper always.
Sure.
And so my message is on TV, and another ad will be coming out. You want to buy your mustard? Go to Tahoe. Go to Costco.
In the automotive industry, there's always this fear that women get taken advantage of. Like buying a new car, you're going to get some salesman to pull the wool over their eyes. And so in theory, it would carry over into the tire business, and maybe it does. But not at your place.
Well, more probably in the mechanic business, because mechanical
sure.
business is a gray area under the car that nobody knows what's under there, and they don't know what a ball joint is or a tie rod in. But
My girlfriend one time, she took her car in for a tune-up, and the guy said, "You better come look here, your engine's missing." And she said, "It was here when I drove in."
Yeah.
That's a true story.
No.
It is.
He wanted to sell her a new engine?
Those Volkswagens have the engine.
The
in back.
timing was off. Her engine was missing. The timing was off.
I
She
get it now.
thought the engine wasn't there.
Is that a
Well,
one?
thank you very much for joining us in the studio. If you want to hang out, we're going to talk some other
Indeed.
other kinds of business stuff.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate
You're very
it.
welcome. We're going to cut to our second commercial break, and again, the theme is shows on cable TV. Where does the TV show Pawn Stars take place? And we're going to be right back. Welcome back to The Best of Investing. Again, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hanf of Pacific Private Money and Robert Schiff of RPM Mortgage.
Nicely said.
Thank you very much. Okay, when we cut to the second commercial break, we asked this trivia question. The television show Pawn Stars, where does that take place? Anybody?
Kentucky?
Kentucky. Come on, you know where
We
it
could
takes
do a whole
place.
show on the cable station reality shows.
That's true. Well, I got one more after this. Go on, anybody.
L.A.?
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Las Wages, as they say. Okay, we received, actually, Mark, you were reading something in the newspaper that I thought was interesting.
Well, they just, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in the fourth segment, but the Bay Area August home sales just came out actually today, and highest home sales in the Bay Area since August of 2006, which was near the height of the market. So it's pretty amazing. We'll get into a little bit more of that later. But what was interesting
That's in monthly volume? Or?
in monthly volume, yeah. And so anyway, but I was reading about in that article it talked about the most active lenders for Bay Area home buyers, and the number 2 lender The first was a bank, which will go unnamed, but the company that did the second, number 2 in Bay Area home loans was RPM Mortgage.
You must have been pretty busy there,
Which-
Robert.
Our own Robert Schiff here.
Which is a bank, but just a mortgage bank.
A mortgage bank,
That's
yeah.
nice to hear and not surprising to know the volume of the loans. Some of the larger banks, as you say, to go unnamed, are backing out of the industry in certain ways. They are fed up with the regulations, or they want to use their money other ways, or they're retrenching and.
Well, obviously, you guys have competitive rates, or else you wouldn't have been so
Yes,
busy.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and the longer we do, and the bigger industries that will buy mortgages or want to support them see the quality of the loans we have are very strong, and there's very little foreclosures or forfeits or late payments. So it gets better and better, and people are acknowledging it and realizing it. That all helps. Thank you
Okay.
for that
Awesome.
information.
All right. Tell you what, we'll go right into the email time because we received an email for you that says, "What is the highest LTV? I assume that means loan to value that I can get on a conventional loan."
Well, the answer, as Mark mentioned in any of these questions, is basically it depends.
That's no answer.
But,
Give us the real answer.
The highest loan to value you can get in these days, when everybody used to be able to get 100% financing, the answer to the highest you can get is 100%.
It used to be 115 or 120 in some
With
cases.
those
but that was-
old cash-out purchases.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But if you are a veteran, you can get 100% financing.
The
And
VA program still
on
do
the-
that?
On the VA program, they will still do it, and there's no mortgage insurance. There's an upfront fee.
What's the 3%?
The 3.5% is for FHA loans, Federal Housing Authority, and you can get a loan with 3.5% down, and also you can have the seller pay a significant, if not percentage, if not all of the closing costs. So I've had people literally, with all the closing costs, and there are significant fees to an FHA loan, but they still can come in with as little as 3.5% down. And the way real estate prices have declined and rents have increased, even sometimes they will be paying monthly fees equal to or maybe even less than a comparable rent. Probably not so much in the general Bay Area, but if you go outside a little bit.
But they have to do full doc.
Yeah, everything, everything that I deal with is full doc. They want to see your taxes, they want to see everything, and everything is questioned and dotted and crossed.
What's the fastest you can do a loan?
I mean, they'll do a 20-day close.
That's pretty fast.
Other than that, most of the banks are taking well more than a month, say 45 days, to really process a loan and close it.
Now, one of you guys are number 2 in the Bay Area. So are there any stated income loan products at all? Have any of them come back on the market?
As far as I know, when I get somebody who can only qualify that way, I turn to my favorite hard money person and come to you. although
Are
I
you
know,
kidding me?
No, I no.
4%
When
versus
when they
10%?
call and
No.
say I want to get a loan, what's your income, and they tell me, and my response is,
Can you prove it?
do you own a TV? Have you not heard their changes in the mortgage industry in the last several years? No, you do need to qualify. And then you get people, of course, well, but, what does your taxes show? Well, it shows 100,000. Well, that's your gross. And what about your net? Well, I don't need to show you my net. I'm just going to use my gross. And then I think, well, perhaps
Pay
there's
no
a
attention to the man
person I
behind the
should
curtain.
have Mark call. So.
Yeah, really.
Well, and the private lending industry has responded. There are companies that have, like soft hard money is what we call it, that's kind of in between bank financing and the kind of hard money loans that we often do, which is to real estate flippers. But if you do have stated income, there are products that have been coming out of the woodwork for you, and they are in the single-digit rates, and some of them are pretty compelling. So if you've got a great opportunity to buy a house, there are some, anywhere from 699, 799, which still is not.
That's awfully good in this,
It's not,
and then
not
you can,
great, but
if-
it's better than.
But if it's not being able to buy the house, it's,
That's exactly, yeah,
because-
compared to what?
Because
Yeah.
in a year, they'll probably be able to be in a better situation and
Exactly.
get out of that loan.
Hard money and private money historically has always been a little bit more conservative in the loan to value. So whether it's a purchase money loan or a cash out refi, up until recently, the max amount was about 65%, but I've been doing more 70%, and in some cases 75% purchase money loans, depending on the neighborhood and the strength of the borrower. So, hard money, unlike what some people think, has never really been 100% financing money. Now, if you're a real estate investor and you're looking to buy fix and flip, there is 100% or near to 100% financing available, and it's usually in the combination of like a first and a second. But the catch is the person who's providing the second for, let's say, up to 100% financing on a maybe a fix and flip purchase, they're going to want to split the profits with you in some form or fashion. A lot of them want 50%, so they're going to be your equity partner, basically whether you like it or not, which in some cases maybe you like it because either your money's all tied up in maybe another property that you have on the market and you want to keep your crew busy, or maybe you're getting started in real estate, you've taken a bunch of courses, you've got your team lined up, and you can't seem to get started because you don't have enough money to get in the game. Working with a first-second combination where the second is basically your partner.
And that's
is a
not
good
too bad
idea.
either, because then you can actually, sometimes the borrower in that case wants an equity partner in that
Right,
case.
they want an equity partner anyway.
Yeah,
Right,
because
so-
they also,
A lot
that
of
way
the
they don't get
guys, a
foreclosed.
lot of guys
you
in
know?
the trades who were doing it before and now don't have the wherewithal to jump in by themselves. That would be a great opportunity.
Sure,
They
but also
create
you
a
have
job and
well, what I was thinking of is that ordinarily, you have a second mortgage, you just automatically would just foreclose if there's a problem. But in this case, if there's potential profits to be made, then I would think that the second might work with you a
Well,
little bit more,
they're
because
they're
your
one, they're
partner.
your cheerleader, and number two,
Yeah.
they're even a project manager in many cases. So this is a recent development. This wasn't really around a year ago, but now that most people believe the real estate market has bottomed out and it's even starting to tick up, and now we've got in some neighborhoods it's no longer a buyer's market, but it is in a way a seller's market, because there's you put something on the market and you're more often than not you get multiple bids. So for someone who is looking to get into real estate investing and they don't have the equity, this new program, it's referred to in the business as a shared appreciation mortgage. It's a second mortgage generally behind maybe a hard money first, which is less expensive. It doesn't have a
Just
profit
call it
share.
SAM.
Yeah, it's a SAM
Shared
loan. That's
appreciation.
exactly right. So there's
SAM.
a whole bunch of SAM lenders in the Bay Area right now, and I know many of them. So I used to get phone calls all the time from flippers or prospective flippers saying, "Hey, do you know any equity investors you could refer me to?" And of course, my answer would be no, because my investors, my lenders are my clients. I'm not going to turn them over to you. But now I've got a yes answer. I say, well, no, I don't have any equity partners I can refer you to, but I have lenders who are essentially the same, that
Yeah.
will participate with you. So that's good news for flippers.
And here is the third and final trivia question. What's the name of the reality show that follows individuals who just can't seem to throw anything out? And we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Best of Investing. I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Mark Hunt of Pacific Private Money and Robert Schiff of RPM Mortgage. And we still have Mark McAlonen still in the studio here. And when we cut to the third final commercial break, we asked this trivia question. What's the name of the reality show that follows individuals who just can't seem to throw anything out?
Piggies.
No. Piggies. Anyone?
Hoarders.
Hoarders, that is correct. Very good. I wasn't sure if
way
you
too
guys
much
would know that
TV.
one. Mark, you also said that you've got a lot of interesting data to share with us.
Well, this week, a lot of real estate data was released, and it kind of shows both sides of the spectrum. And the real estate market's still, kind of in a quandary. On the one hand, you've got, August home sales. The numbers were just released in the Bay Area and in California overall. Were the highest August in 6 years. So, so we're up. The sales volume for the Bay Area is up 14%. In some counties like San Francisco and Marin and Napa, it was up over 30% year over year, the sales volume. So, and the median price is up 10%. So, if you listen to the associations or ask any realtor, they'll tell you, hey, happy days are here again. Real estate's on the rebound. But then, then you look at another article this week that where the numbers came out called Homeowner Blues, and that one talks about how, well, for example, Nevada, nearly 60% of of all homes in Nevada are worth less than what's owed on them.
Well, you said they were underwater. And
They're
I said,
underwater,
and I said,
yeah.
wait a minute, how could they be underwater? They're not near the
Water-
ocean.
Lake Mead.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. Okay.
California is 30%, so still 30%.
30%, every third house in California is underwater. That's an amazing statistic.
Yep.
So if you're living in a house, you can look to your left and your right, and if they're not underwater,
You
you're
are.
There, right, exactly.
One of you is. Yeah.
So you've got 30%
Wow.
in California underwater, but yet home sales are the best August in 6 years, and we know that home prices have started to tick up a little bit. So
So what do you think? That's a function of geographical locations? or-
No. Well, here's what's happening. Then the other articles that I was going to share with you is one that says no signs of foreclosure wave. So you've got 30% of homes underwater, and you still have 170,000 homes in California that are in default. They're either and that means either a notice of default has been filed by the bank or a notice of sale has been filed, and there's
Does that mean the bank is just going to wait until the market gets
they're-
better?
They're in the foreclosure process.
Right, they're in
And
the
those are the
foreclosure
ones that
process.
the banks have finally started the foreclosure
Right.
process.
So you got 100
All the other loans probably, I'll bet 10 times that amount that they have non-performing loans.
Non-performing that
They
haven't
just haven't done anything with,
Yes.
waiting for the market to get better.
Well,
No?
trying to figure out what to do.
What to do. Yeah.
Right, and so you've got these, you've got the shadow inventory, as people refer it to, but here a report by foreclosureradar.com, and these guys are about the sharpest website out there for this data, and it says, they continue to see reports that there will be this wave of foreclosure sales after the election or the start of 2013,